We've been at this almost a week now. I think I did the first one on Friday. I've set aside some time today, so I don't know how long I'm going to ramble. I know I'm going to talk to John Adams about the podcast. That's probably going to be the main thing that we'll get to in a minute. But just kind of about the channel, we've got 19 subscribers now. It's not exactly blown up, but I am going to pay a little bit of attention to it today. I want to take this a little bit more seriously. So I'm going to give the channel some tags, because you can put some in the background in YouTube Studio. You can add some tags to the channel to help things get found a bit better. And I'll also add some hashtags to the video as well. So like productivity, lifestyle, content creator, that kind of general thing. And just see if we can't get found. I don't know what the key to it is. I've been watching this guy called Gabe Bolt, G-A-B-E-B-U-L-T, The Process. It's a little bit near at times, but he's good to watch. And he's one that I came across, or it came up on my homepage, about this idea of unedited, raw, natural videos. So I thought, okay, let's give that a go. And as you know, that's me doing. So I'm going to pay a bit more attention. I'm going to try and get the banner heading sorted out. Did I just say that? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm going to try and, just make the channel look a little bit better. I'll try and do that today. Banner's always a pain in the arse, but I'll try and get onto that later on. So far today, I've edited the photo. That's on the Lightroom community already, and that will go up on Instagram later. And I've spent time this morning emailing. When I was at CES in January, I met with Hollyland mics. I often use their wireless mics. At the moment, I'm using a mic on top of the camera here in the cold shoe. But I do use their wireless mics a lot. And I did a free video for them last year, which went down quite well. And the person there has now changed. Anyway, I met with them at CES. We had a couple of emails. Early on, she asked me to do about a couple of products, and then I've not heard back, just been completely ghosted. Well, Hollyland are at the Photo and Video Show in Birmingham. I'm going there at the NEC in the UK next weekend. I'm going to go on the Saturday, and Hollyland are there. So I've sort of suggested to her, look, why don't I pick up the gear there? Or if you send me the gear in advance, I could kind of vlog there or something. I don't know, because one of them is this all-in-one vlogging camera with a flip-up screen. Pretty neat. It's about 500 quid. So it's a nice bit of kit. And the other was another wireless mic, which I could use on the camera or on the iPhone. So anyway, I've spent this morning, Acasis also, that I did some affiliate stuff for last year. They got back in touch with me. I met them at CES too. This was somebody else from Acasis. They got a new dock coming out, and I was emailing them, trying to push that along. Ugreen have been in touch with me again, somebody new. So there's been some leads, there's nothing about. And my dear friends at Espresso Displays, we've been emailing this morning. They're based in Australia. The guy I deal with, the team are based in Australia. And we've got some ideas for a video that we might be doing. So still no sponsors in the bank. Still, I think I told you, last week was that kind of low point for me when I had to draw down some investments. It's not like I'm stupid wealthy when I say investments. I got left a little bit of money in an inheritance when my dad passed away 28 years ago. He passed away the same year my daughter was born, actually. He got to meet her just. He passed away when she was 6 months old. But my mum passed away 5 years ago, not because of COVID, but during COVID. And I wasn't able to get to see her because it was literally as we had our first major shutdowns. And she was in hospital with dementia. And then I was trying to find a care home for her, and she passed away fairly quickly at the care home when I wasn't allowed to see her. But anyway, so I was left a little bit of inheritance, which I've been smart enough to sort of squirrel away. And I've had to draw some of that down because there's just no money being earned. And we're now 2.5 months into the new year, and there's no sign. I think this year in total, I mean, I do keep an accurate spreadsheet of everything I earn. I actually earned my first £25 from Amazon this month. So a few people are clicking on the affiliate links I put in there. I've never had much. Some people get huge responses out of Amazon affiliate links, because the thing is, if you were to be kind enough to click on one of my affiliate links, then go and buy a fridge, freezer, or a washing machine, I would get a kickback from your whole shopping experience. Not a lot of people talk about that or know that, but so I've got my first 25 quid, but there's still no money coming in. So the good fight continues. As you know, I've kind of started this channel to broaden my bases, because with making an Apple-only channel, it's one of the most expensive tech brands out there. And, this week, as you know, I've just bought a blush iPhone 17e that will be landing next week. Today's video, by the way, the main video is, should I switch from the 17 Pro Max to the 17e? Because I don't really use many of the features on the Pro Max anymore, because I'm shooting everything on here now. Before I was shooting on a Canon 90D. That was my old camera that I was shooting on. I hope it's got focus on it. And now I've obviously switched over to the Canon R50V. So I'm not using the iPhone at all now. So that's today's video that'll be going up later on. But this channel gives me the options to hopefully make realistic, honest. Like I would never have said about my dad passing away before, or my mum, or letting you into my life kind of thing. And it's nice to be able to do that because I'm free from the restraints of having a tech channel. And as I say, the tech channel, it's expensive to run and there's no money coming in. How long is it going to go on for? Oh, sorry, I was going to tell you. I think I've earned around about £1,000 or £1,100 total this year from content, and that's every penny that I do. I produce somebody's podcast, that goes on the spreadsheet. My media money, that's down 50% on last February. I think I earned $350 for writing, which is low. Normally I earn around about $1,000 a month. There was one story last year that absolutely flew for some reason and earned me $5,000. Don't know why. It wasn't even a good story. But anyway, so everything's down. So savings come through, they're in my account now, and I've got to just be frugal and learn to live with that, and then just keep applying myself. So this week, as you know, I've tried to think of everything I can possibly do. With the main video that's going out later today, I had it ready last night. When in YouTube Studio, you get this graphic showing when most of your viewers are online and looking at videos and when they're not. And by the time I finished editing last night, it was saying most, or some of my viewers, but not most. It goes from a white colour where none are, light pink, some are, dark pink, all are. So I thought, what I've found also is if you let the video process overnight and index overnight, it seems to work better. So I had it finished last night at about 8 o'clock, but I've changed the thumbnail this morning, and that's a good thing as well, because a new title came to me overnight, so I've swapped that out, and that goes out later on today, so we'll see. I think it's only an 8-minute video. I think people prefer slightly shorter as well. But then, as I say, this is something I want to try and give a bit of passion and time to do. I really hoped that it would take off more than it has this week, but as you know, I don't seem to be getting the breaks. It does make you question yourself. It makes you question whether you're really bad at something. I think I will be honest with you. Today I'm going to try and find £100 and do what I said yesterday. I'm going to boost a video through the appropriate channels on YouTube. £100, trust me, is not a lot. I know people are putting in thousands. But I think if I just get that little push of growth, the sponsor will be more attracted to it, and also it'd be interesting for me to show you and talk to you. I'm going to set it for a week probably, and just see. I'll tell you the video that it is when I've done it, and we'll just see how it responds and how it grows. So I couldn't be more honest and open with you. Podcast. It was John Adams. Why did the podcast stop? Now, you'll understand I've not got to be reasonably deft here in how I talk, because, of course, there are two other people involved in it as well. And I don't want to say anything that's kind of bad-mouthing them at all. Not that I've got anything to say bad about them anyway. But, right, so the podcast, Minus 16. First of all, if you haven't listened to the podcast regularly, it was called Minus 16 because that is the loudness LUFS. It's loudness units to full scale. That is the minus 16 is what Apple like their loudness to be at when you post a podcast. Though, coming from my broadcast days, I thought I'd call it minus 16. When I started this channel, I started three things: YouTube, Medium, and the podcast. The podcast initially I did alone for a long time. And then I went through a spell, because I was using my studio that you saw this week. I was using that when it was just an audio only podcast. I was doing it alone, and then I was beginning to get guests on, because when I was doing my jazz show, I regularly had guests on there, and that I know I'm fairly good at interviewing. So I thought, well, let's carry that through. Let's find other creators to talk to, and that went on for a little while. Sam Cole was on there, a few others on there, and then I happened across Alex. So I went to Alex, we did a podcast together, and we got on well. Then it was the two of us, and then Daniel came on the scene. He's a lovely guy. He's a really lovely guy. We met when he was over from Australia last summer before last, actually. And so then it became the three of us. We're hovering on episode 99, which is kind of ironic that it hasn't tipped to 100. Why has it stopped? I guess, to be honest, time. First of all, let me say, I'm very proud of the podcast. I think we were giving out information that nobody else was giving out. Certainly about running a channel, and I think we were honest. Maybe there's a little bit too much Apple bashing on there, but by and large, I was really happy with the content, very proud of it, but it wasn't getting found. We had the odd episode that popped. The tech podcast space is very, very saturated, highly saturated. And I think it was equating that. I noticed there was a lack of energy. And the way it used to work was we used to record every other Friday at about 11 o'clock on a UK time, because obviously we have to factor in for Daniel as well, he's in Australia. So it's kind of 10 in the evening for him. And then I would spend probably 3 to 5 hours editing it. If you've watched how it used to be, I used Riverside to edit it. And then how it ended up, you'll notice it was so much, I mean, it's almost like a mini documentary, there's overlays and talking heads to one side and all sorts. And I really enjoyed working Riverside. I met them a few years ago at the London Podcast Show. There's a woman called Kendall. She does a lot of their talking head videos now that Stephen's left. We had a meeting over Christmas to see if there's any future of me working with them some more. I really enjoyed editing it, but it's taking 3 to 5 hours. So I would come in on a Friday morning, answer comments, do a bit of admin, then record, then spend the rest of the day doing that. And then I would wait for the thumbnail to be done. I did everything else, and I paid for Riverside, and I paid for the hosting as well. So it was costing me. Riverside costs about £300 a year. Hosting cost me similar, about £300 a year. And of course, there was no money being made, and it was a lot of time. It kind of came to a natural stop. There has been no falling out at all. And in fact, Daniel, I'll be messaging this week, and we're going to catch up soon. So there's no falling out, but I think there was a slight lack of energy, a slight lack of direction. And then I realised, particularly as I saw things slowing up, that I need to spend time on this channel, on the main channel. Well, maybe on this channel now as well. And so then I had to be honest with myself. And as much as I'd love to do a Colin Samir kind of channel, I'd love to do a kind of just a talk-only channel, I had to be honest about where the priorities were. And it was taking too much time out every other week. And I just felt I needed to focus more on the job in hand where money could be earned. So that's kind of why it's come to a stop. It's never been said that it's totally stopped. We did have a chat, the three of us, at the beginning of January, and there were some vague ideas floated about. Nothing's come of that yet. And to be honest, if I've got free time at the moment, I'd rather put it into this channel than the podcast. So it hasn't stopped, but it's kind of a natural hiatus for the time being. And also, the other factor is that I like to go into London shooting now. Now, I'm not earning any money from that, as you know, but if I had some free time, like on Wednesday this week, when I went into town, I'd rather spend that free time with photography or talking to you guys and making this kind of content. Because if this catches on, in theory, if I was to get to, I think it's 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours, obviously clearly a long way off at the moment, then this channel could monetize. And let's just say, for instance, I was to earn £500 a month just from ad rev on here. That is quite hard to achieve. To give you an idea, my main channel never hits that. I only get about £200 at best a month on AdSense. But if I could get AdSense, I wouldn't have to bother and worry about getting sponsors. I don't need too much to get by. My life's not particularly extravagant. I desperately want to travel again. Going to Vegas, and I went to Edinburgh, and went all around the UK last year, has given me the taste for travelling. I desperately want to travel. Of course, that needs money. I love bringing tech onto travel. I mean, with the 17E, I've kind of thought about doing a road trip with that rather than sitting in the studio. I just feel it would be, it makes more realistic. And also, it's the best way to get to know your tech as well. So, John, I hope that's answered questions about the podcast. And we'll see where it goes. But after a week of doing this, yes, this does take a bit of time, but clearly there's no editing, as you know, it's just one straight take. I don't put any cuts, I don't do a thumbnail, I just take a screenshot from the video itself. Does text on a thumbnail make any difference to you? Have a look at that, Gabe. See what you think. He gives some examples of channels that are blown up. And it's nothing that I'm not doing here. And I just need to unlock the door. Again, if I can make this part of my day, for sure, particularly without the podcast commitment. And even this week when I was in town, I managed to record for you. And it's only going to be easy because we're getting to longer days now in the UK. The clock's about to go forward. So I'm going to get lighter days and I can be in London, because the other day I was really well organised. I managed to get the video you're seeing today, everything was done in London. So, I recorded the A-roll here, but all of the B-roll was recorded in London, and the thumbnail was shot in London as well. So, where I felt I'd kind of taken a day off from work on Wednesday, I knew that if I got everything done, I would be making that day back on Thursday because all the B-roll would be shot. And rather than shooting the B-roll on the desks here, it made it come to life more by being outdoors in London. So London again was my highlight this week. I've got some nice shots, particularly yesterday's. I did this very asymmetrical look-up shot. So it's literally when you're looking straight up at the sky. And I found some nice angles there. I will be recording a newsletter as well today. I mean, obviously the newsletter very much trips over onto this now. So I'm going to have to try and find something different to talk about on the newsletter. But the people that get the newsletter aren't necessarily watching this yet. If it gets to the tipping point where I feel that most of the people that are watching the newsletter are also watching this, then I can probably retire the newsletter and have a daily session of this. It probably would make sense. The newsletter was something else I started right back at the beginning. So it's always been the newsletter, it was the podcast, and writing each week, and the main video. So I still feel defeated. I still feel very deflated. Your words have been brilliant this week. I know we're tiny, we're not even 20. If you know of anybody that you think would enjoy these chats, let them know. If we can make this grow word of mouth and people find us and people enjoy watching what we're chatting about, and as you know, I take this channel equally as serious. I respond to all of you on here as well, because it means a lot to me. You're taking the time to watch this, and I don't know what length these should be. When I was watching that, Gabe, he was saying they need to be longer form. People like these longer form videos. I know we've already been talking for 60 minutes now. I told you, talking to a camera, because of the radio background, really isn't an issue. And it's just nice to be able to sit down here in the armchair, and that is one of my shots behind me, by the way. I can do much better than that now, by the way. I think that was over-processed. But it's just nice to be able to sit down. I won't see anybody today. I mean, I've come in from home. I'm spending the day here in the studio alone. I had a load of work to do, and I want to try and tidy up the image on this channel as well. So it's nice to be able to sit down and just talk to you. And I don't get lonely, per se, because I've always worked alone. I'm always very used to being alone. But it's just lovely to be able to... I'm hoping this is a kind of video you can put on while you're pottering around either at work or at home, and it's just a voice in the background. You might occasionally look at the screen, but it is almost like a podcast, but kind of just a voice of me telling you what it's like. And I mentioned earlier this week that it does make you wonder whether... It makes me wonder whether I'm really bad at this. That after 4 years, I'm only at 35, if we're being polite and rounding up slightly, 35,000 subs. That seems to be an awful lot of work. Now, I know there's the argument, put 35,000 people in a stadium and see how many it is. Yeah, it is a lot, sure. I mean, it's twice the amount that Wimbledon holds. It's roughly the amount that Lord's holds. It's a big number of people. And to think that many people have subscribed to me is great. But of course, what I need is to get to 50 and 100. And the growth this year has been really slow, and I'm kind of wondering why. I was reading a comment just before I began recording that the tech space, again, is quite saturated. And yes, it is. And also, I think people are finding this year quite hard financially. It's not just me. I think everyone's finding it quite hard financially. With what's going on in Dubai and so on at the moment, who knows how that's going to affect prices of everyday things like oil and petrol and our heating bills and things like that. So maybe money's tight. Maybe people haven't got the money to be buying new tech. And maybe that's part of the slowdown. Sure, when I see Marquez put up I used to watch Marquez all the time, and I lost interest because it was too anodyne. Not to say that his production quality isn't brilliant, but I thought also he was losing interest. I know I'm treading on hallowed toes here. I'm speaking of one of the GOATs. I get that. But to my way of thinking, clearly his passion was more on his international frisbee stuff than on tech. And he's done it all before, and I think that came across. And most of the reviews he does now are just studio, get it out of the box, use it in the studio a few hours, and then give thoughts. He'll get millions of views. And also, have you noticed how the thumbnails are very, very average? A lot of the time, it's almost a grab shot, a head and shoulder shot. There's nothing special about his thumbnails. So when you're told on YouTube that you've got to put so much work into your thumbnails, I'm not so sure that's true. But then how do I get my channel to get traction? I've spent the last week, 10 days, certainly intensely looking at everything I do, wondering what I can do better. Today's video I'm pretty happy with, that'll be going out. Yes, I'm glad I changed the thumbnail. Yes, I'm glad I left it overnight just to think about it. I don't do ABC testing because my view is if I've given a thumbnail serious thought and I think it looks good, I can't do any better. Why would I want to try and denature that and send out to 2/3 of the people worse videos, titles and thumbnails? So I try to go all in, and that's the only place I use any AI. I put what I think should be the suggestion for the video into AI and see what comes back, and then I'll tweak it accordingly. And as you know, I never go the clickbait route either. That's not my style. I'm not. I don't want to be disingenuous like that. I am going to boost a video because I think if I can get the channel moving again, that might help. I don't know if it matters to Google that if you spend money with them, that they give your channel preferential treatment. I have no idea. But that's where watching this Gabe guy and talking about some of the channels he was talking about, I was just convinced that if I did this, I could maybe just earn some AdSense eventually off of here. Clearly, at the beginning of the week, I was hoping maybe this will just blow up. Maybe I'll get found just really quickly, and it will just take off. People like seeing a bloke sitting down just chatting. Clearly, it hasn't. I don't know if this is all bullshit or not. I don't know if that actually happens for people or not. And the thing is, it's very hard to measure. And even if you do speak to other creators, you don't always get the truth. And to be honest, then it can make you feel even more impotent. If they say, oh, we're flying, we've got all these sponsors booked up, this is my day rate, this is what I'm getting. I don't need to hear that right now. The fight and the battle is hard enough. I need to... That's why I decide... I am, as you're gathering, very much a loner. And I just need to battle through this. And with the money that I've drawn down to live off, I've got 2 or 3 months that will see me through as long as I'm sensible. Mortgage, rent, car. They're the 3 main things for me each month. The rent here at the studio. Then... Oops, the camera's decided to go walkies. Come back to me. There we go. Then it gives me... It's almost like a director's loan that I've given myself just to see if things are going to pick up and when things... Obviously, I'm scared that it's over. I'm scared that whatever boost I had last year, whatever things were going well last year, that those times are behind me now. We shall see. I'm still deeply concerned because nothing's really changing. It's been a more positive morning. I did send a load of emails out today. Obviously, because I'm dealing on the whole with people in Hong Kong, there's a big time lapse, so I wasn't answering till about 11 o'clock UK, which means that it's their night time, so I'll probably have to wait till Monday now. But I just hope something comes from Yugi, I hope something comes from Hollyland. Espresso and I will do something together. We work ever so well together, so I know something will come from them. But it's just when. And I keep questioning myself. So the only reason I can sleep well at the moment is I know that I'm trying everything. I know that I'm looking at every metric I can. I'm thinking of every idea that I can. I haven't just sat back and thought I'm stuffed and wept in my beer at night and just done nothing about it. I've tried to think of everything to make things happen. I try not to be negative. I'm not one of these gushy people, but I try not to be negative and look at everything being half empty. But I'll tell you what, it's bloody hard this year. And I don't mean this to be a moan at all. I just hope it's something truthful. If nothing else, when you sit and watch the video later today, you'll know the heartache that's gone in behind that. You'll know the creative process that's gone in behind that. And yeah, and the funny thing is, I was going to say it leaves you bare. It does. It leaves you empty. When you finish a week's video, because it takes pretty much a week to make that one video, thinking of what I'm going to do, title, thumbnail, shooting it, editing it, B-roll, it takes time. That's why I don't try and do more than one a week. But of course, as soon as that's now done today, it all starts over again. It's rinse and repeat. So now, this afternoon, I'm going to record the newsletter and then I'm going to start writing. I will start writing the outline of next week's story. It will be written in full. Then, as you know, 2 or 3 proofreading passes to make sure it's right. Yeah, and then it all starts over. So there's not much respite. So the weekends are generally thinking, right, what am I going to make content about next week? I've got an idea. I think I'll probably go back to iPad next week. I'm not going to rush to do a 17E video because, again, the big channels that with the embargoes, they will already have the phone. Their videos could already be made. And so there's no point trying to get on the bandwagon and get a video out really quickly because it won't do anything. The embargo channels will get that. So I'd rather take my time within reason, within a week or so, and make content that hopefully actually means something and is an honest video. And the comments I'm getting on my videos at the moment, I had one this morning about the Mac Mini. Somebody saying I can really clearly see that A, you use it and you enjoy it, and it's not just the same stuff. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to just sit down and spew out tech spec sheets. I know I've got better this year because I'm looking at different facts. I'm putting together better videos with more content in them for users. And that short, I know I mentioned this earlier this week, but that short, I was really proud of myself that I did that short in London with captions on the screen, did a bit of fact finding, all of that on the fly. That I could not have done that before. It would have been full of errors, and I know that I couldn't have done that before. So I'm. This is the thing. I know that I'm getting better. If nothing else, I know that through this quieter period, what I've decided to do is just make myself better, because what else can you do, right? If you don't get better, you definitely are standing still. So that's kind of my thoughts. That's my Friday. That's my first week. I'm not sure what I'll do over the weekend, whether I'll get to make a video or not. If I can, it won't be as long as this. This has been quite a rambling old video with almost half an hour now. But I just had a lot on my mind to talk to you about, and that is the nature of what this is supposed to be about. There's no restrictions, there's no time limits, there's no sponsors to worry about. I can just sit and talk to you, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for all the kind words. We are at nearly 20 subs now. Let's see, if luck was really good to me, we'd be at 50 subs next week. It won't happen, I know. But let's just see what goes on. This has been one of the highlights of my day, I promise you. The other highlight, I'll probably be getting a curry tonight. It's not as good as it sounds, because I've still got this design business. And one of my old clients is a curry house near where I live, and I do their menus for them. So I've got to go down, pick up some changes to the menus, and while I'm there, I'm going to be getting something with a lot of beef or prawn in it, I think, or maybe lamb. Anyway, that's hours away yet, so I've got work to do this today. Write the story, record the newsletter, get that set up, then in MailChimp set up the newsletter to go out. And yeah, just tell people about this. If you keep helping me out, maybe this will grow. Maybe it'd be lovely to think we are at the start of something exciting. It'd be lovely to start us little 20 are doing something that nobody else knows about, and suddenly it becomes something that I'm doing every day, and it's making money for me. And if it's making me money each month, sitting doing this, I don't even need sponsors. Wouldn't that be lovely? Anyway, thank you for sticking with me for this first week, and I hope you found this vaguely interesting, not too rambling, and not too boring. I know you're coming because you're really good like that, and I'll speak to you very, very, very soon.